let's talk about your time studying when you were studying planning and engineering. Did you ever think that your career would look the way it is right now? And what was your mindset at that time?
All right. I don't know. Somehow, right from the beginning, when I was, when I was just taking admission to engineering itself, somehow intuitively, I think I knew where I wanted to be in life at one point of time. So when I chose engineering, also it was a conscious decision to choose civil engineering vis-a-vis the other streams which were offered to me based on my scores and marks, which is computer science. And I didn't want to be sitting behind a laptop all my life. So I wanted to do something real. So which was civil engineering, brick and mortar and people. So that's why I consciously chose civil engineering. My father was also a civil engineer. Maybe it came from that. But I wanted to do something with real life and people. So that's how I chose engineering. And then the next step also, from engineering to planning. So urban planning was also again a conscious choice because I wanted to move one step beyond boardrooms and beyond drawing boards. And I didn't envision myself designing buildings all my life in a closed room. And so I wanted to move to macro, a little macro that was urban planning, which had something to do with civil engineering, but it was also at scale and it was about policy making for cities. So that's how I chose urban planning, and then I got the qualified for the School of Planning and Architecture in New Delhi. And then many years later in my career, the mid-career phase is when I thought, after implementing so many programs and so many projects in the domain of urban planning and civil engineering, I thought I want to be a decision maker, and that's when I chose public policy and administration.
I don't think it gets more real than that the
Right.
work that you're doing.
Sure.
And did you think that how much exposure did you think you had to policy and governance back then in your educational field? Was it something that was part of the curriculum, or was it something that you learned from your own readings or findings of the world?
Right. So those days we didn't have much exposure to a lot of information as we have today. The AIs and the Googles of the world were not there at that point of time. So whatever I understood of public policy was through my upbringing and through the discussions that we had at home about socio-political issues and all the limited exposure to television and the limited exposure to what's happening around the country was very fascinating for me as a child, and that's how somehow it got ingrained into me that I need to do something beyond my canvas, beyond just my limited canvas of me and my family or my immediate kith and kin. I always wanted to serve a larger public. So I think that's how the entire the process of my career shaped up intuitively because of that subconscious thought.
Definitely, ma'am.
Yeah.
I want to know, did you think the systems that prepared you, your masters and your undergrad, did you think they prepare you for the real world complexity, or was it just a technical execution of what you had just studied? What did you think of that?
Right. So as I said, those days engineering was just engineering. There was nothing that you could do beyond civil engineering. So
But what was engineering? How do you describe it?
I did civil engineering. So that was about building, constructing buildings and constructing highways or constructing roads. It was very technical. It was about the formula. How do you, maintain a momentum in the bridges? How do you have a structural stability for buildings? And so it was very mathematical and very technical, actually. So there was nothing, no element of economics or no element of social, engineering or any of that taught in engineering those days. So it was purely technical. So that's when, because maybe for me the left and the right of my brain work simultaneously and in work and both, I mean, they work together. So I need to satisfy both sides of my brain, and that's when I think consciously I chose to do something to do with civil engineering, which is urban planning, but also at a macro scale. Yeah.
I think that is what satisfies one's career as well. If they have satisfaction in their head of what they're doing, if the left and the right, as you say, align,
Yeah, yeah.
only then they can see the career progression and they can enjoy what they're getting themselves into.
Right.
And I think you said that construction and engineering as a whole was very devoid of real world applicability. Would you agree to that?
Yes, at least when we learned engineering and civil engineering, those were syllabi which was quite outdated. And of course, I mean, people from my college or wherever I studied engineering in the Government Engineering College in Thrissur in Kerala, it was one of the finest institutions of those times. My classmates have done tremendously well across the globe. But that was something of their own making. It was not what we studied. But somehow, whatever, to give everything the due credit, I would say that that learning actually, helped us shape our analytical skills very very well. And we are, even today, my thoughts are very systematic, and it is very meticulous, my planning. And so that comes from my engineering background. So I apply it even in public policy or any other realm. That thinking doesn't change.
So you could say that engineering gave you the structure,
Yeah.
but your real life exposure gave you the application of it.
Absolutely, yeah.